As you know, John Davison Rockefeller is recognized as the richest man in the world, in the entire history of mankind. His financial condition in terms of current monetary units was over $300 billion, which is more than 2 times more than the richest man of our time, Jeff Bezos. The 12 rules of John Rockefeller are excerpts collected by his admirers from quotes he ever uttered and published in his autobiographical book, Memoirs. These rules of wealth, John taught his only son, and he passed them on to his 5 sons. Now the Rockefeller dynasty still remains one of the richest dynasties in the world, having united with another richest American family, the Rothschilds. The attitude towards these people may be ambiguous, but it must be admitted that they know how to be rich, they know how to become rich and maintain their wealth, and largely because they follow the 12 rules of John Rockefeller, who, being from a rather poor large family, with zero became a dollar billionaire and the world's largest oil tycoon. So I think there is a lot to learn here. So what are they, the 12 Rockefeller rules? Rule 1. Work less for someone else. The more you work for others, the poorer you become. John Rockefeller was convinced that working for an uncle is a dummy to nowhere. On a personal example, in his entire life he worked for someone else's company for a very short time, and that was from a very early age, at 16 years old. Despite the fact that John quickly grew up the career ladder and, as a young boy, rose from an assistant accountant to the head of a company, he realized that this was a dead-end path of development, quit and became a business partner of another entrepreneur, while borrowing the missing capital at interest. Rule 2. Smartly save money. Look for opportunities to buy at a discount or wholesale. Make a shopping list in advance and only buy from the list. It turns out that the so popular and recommended now shopping lists have their roots in 19 convicts to John Rockefeller. From childhood, John created savings, putting away the earned money in a piggy bank, which allowed him at the age of 13 to issue his first loan at interest. Rule 3. If you are poor, go into business. If you are very poor, get into business urgently, right now. It was in starting his own business that John Rockefeller saw the best way to get rid of poverty. And by his example, he proved it perfectly. Doing business, even if at first on a partnership basis, gave him the opportunity to transform from a poor man to a global oil tycoon. Moreover, he, without wasting time, began to engage in serious business very early. Rule 4. Great wealth can only come through passive income. Create sources of passive income and live your life. Gradually, John Rockefeller turned from a businessman to an investor. He was the owner of a large number of large enterprises that brought him income without much intervention. Only passive income, coming regardless of his efforts, the possibility of which is always limited, can become a source of great wealth. Rockefeller perfectly proved the effect of these rules by example. Rule 5. Think about how to make $50,000 a month. Either more, but not less. This figure appeared for a reason. John Rockefeller thought a rich person cannot spend more than $50,000 a month. This is his limit, so he included just such an amount in his wealth rules. Rule 6. Be sociable and friendly. Money comes through other people. It is very difficult to become rich on your own. Rockefeller was convinced that communication with other people helped to come to wealth, while it is much more difficult to do it yourself. Here you can recall that in his oil company, John Rockefeller gave out salaries to employees with company shares. Thus, they became personally interested in the success of the common cause, because their personal income on shares depended on this, so they worked with maximum diligence, enriching themselves and the owner of the company. Rule 7. Poor people around you always pull you into poverty. Surround yourself with winners and optimists. John Rockefeller understood that the psychology of poverty is inherent in poor people, therefore communication with them does not carry anything constructive, but, on the contrary, psychologically inclines them to their own transition to similar thoughts. Rich people, on the contrary, have the psychology of success. They are able to charge and motivate others with their optimism, therefore communication with such people is always constructive and useful. Rule 8. Shirking is the path to poverty. Do not look for excuses that you cannot take the first step towards your goal. They simply do not exist. Often people try to justify their indecision for some external reasons. The 8th rule of Rockefeller's wealth says that there can be no excuses for this case, and by inventing them, a person only condemns himself to poverty. Rule 9. Study the biographies and thoughts of the richest people. The richest people in the world have proved by their own example how you can achieve success, so their stories and thoughts can always be used as the rules of wealth, a good example to follow. Actually, these 12 rules of John Rockefeller are just such a case. Rule 10. Dreams are the main thing in life. A person dies when he stops dreaming. John Rockefeller was convinced that dreaming is not only not harmful, as the well-known saying goes, but also useful and even necessary. It is the dreams and goals set based on dreams that lead a person to wealth. By the way, since childhood, John Rockefeller himself dreamed of earning $100,000 and earned as much as $1.4 billion. Rule 11. Be selfless and help people. Give 1,096 of your profits to charity. John Rockefeller was a philanthropist all his life. From early childhood, he donated 1,096 of his earnings to the church, later took up financing and other charitable projects, and in his old age gave about $500 million to charitable needs. Rockefeller recommends always providing help to those who need it. Rule 12. Having created a business system, enjoy the money you have earned. The last rule of wealth by John Rockefeller means that it is pointless to save money, just like that you need to use it for your own good, enjoying it. Wealth should make a person content and happy, otherwise, it has no meaning. These are the 12 rules of wealth by John Rockefeller. Take note and apply in life. After all, this person can be considered one of the best authorities in achieving wealth, and judging by the level of financial condition, then the best.